Another space?
No, this is still my office, the solarium in the rental. We finally got permits, so the insurance company is not making us move yet.
Oh, good.
Keeping our fingers crossed that they're like, we'll see the pace of progress and then we'll decide. So we're like, please be fast. Anyway, all good. So far, no move. We are running with that, and it's all very exciting. All right. So what do we want to know today, ladies?
I have so many problems, I don't know where to start.
All right. Well, maybe we start with a check-in where people are at. Joanne, did you have anything specific you wanted to tackle today?
No, but I did. I thought you might like an update on how I did with BookSprout.
Also, like
maybe
that.
I'll take my turn. Can you hear the banging?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do my update after everyone else.
Okay. All right. Let's start with retired Jenny.
So this week I'm really focused on just getting the writing bigger, like having more time to write down. And I got my 10 pages revised 10 pages off to Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers. So next week I want to start working and do the updates I want to do to my website. So I'll definitely have questions then. So
Yay. Congratulations.
Yay, I'm so excited. It feels so good.
Here, ring the bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
There you go.
So, and this is a good week because I have nobody bothering me. I'm here alone in the house. So
nice. It's like a retreat at home where you have all of your own things and you're totally settled in.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. All right.
Yeah, so that's the part that I'm going to try and do next. And then 3 weeks out, I want to start cleaning up and making visible some of the blog posts I've been writing, some new ones of those, and get my blog kind of filled out a little bit. So,
nice.
I have a plan.
All right. Excellent. Mary Ann Clark. Where are you at?
I'm scatterbrained and feeling overwhelmed still. And every time I have to report in, I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over again and not actually making any headway. I just got off a chat with my book launch coach because we kind of run the course and have to decide what we're going to do for the next bit. And so we're going to back off the pedal a bit with the coaching until I can decide if I'm going to actually put out another book. I was thinking October, but I'm very, very slow finishing the last bit of it. And for an October release, I should really be doing ARCs and pre-sales now. And I'm just incapable. So
Summer.
I'm massively distracted with other things like rental properties and RV fix-ups and little trips out of town. And when I'm here, I've been preoccupied with getting the new covers done. And that's just been a massive cart to somehow pull forward. I'm making headway, not as quickly or as easily as I wanted. And if I could get that out of the way, then maybe I could focus on this. But every time I talk with her, I feel like there's just this endless list of things, and my brain's so foggy I can't even keep them straight. So my task at the moment is to make some sort of a spreadsheet about my outreach. And it's where am I with reviews? What am I going to do to get more reviews? Who have I actually contacted? Book bloggers, Insta book people, and have I even followed up to see if I'm getting reviews out of them? And where else can I get reviews? And is there any point doing some promos if I haven't got enough reviews? And it just seems to be getting more competitive, and you need 50 and I'm stuck at 15 and I don't know what to do. And then I was talking to Joanne on the weekend about the title and cover change and how I could potentially lose the reviews I already have by rebranding the series, which is the thing I'm in the midst of trying to do. And that scares me because I don't know. And then I'll have pretty covers and new titles and no reviews. It's really...
Okay, pause on that for 1 second. So just as a conversation around that piece, you might, yes, you may have that happen, but then your foundation going forward is going to be on the foundation you want it to be on, right? And you won't be having that reset button when you've got 50 reviews. Like maybe that's why you're stalled on that and why you're struggling so much subconsciously to actually push forward on that side of things, because you know that it may just be resetting. So what if you just as
I've got 27 reviews on reconcilable differences, so that's a lot to lose.
And so start then by exporting those, making a list of all the people who they are. See if you've got the email addresses for those people, because some of them are public on Amazon. And then you can re-request those reviews, right? But just if that's what's holding you back, because if you're already kind of pot committed to redo the covers, you know it's the right way forward from a product perspective, right?
Yeah.
And so holding on to what you already have kind of out of fear is not going to make that leap, right?
No, it's not that I'm not going to do it. It's just an extra thing to worry about, an extra task to take care of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's...
So here's one more experimental question, something to ponder. What if you gave yourself a 2-week vacation from worrying about all of this, and then you booked week 3 as a planning retreat week for yourself to plan and plot your fall? Because summer is ridiculously, it's hard to concentrate, it's hot, there is, as you said, 1,000,000,005 things going on. And if you made your one thing to do to sort out your covers, because you can't really do anything else until you've finalized those, right? Like so many of your other ripple out things are impacted by those covers, right?
Yeah. I don't know. After I have a meeting like that with her, I don't even know where to start, because those covers affect the new book, because it's part of that series. It's that look. And like, if I can't get the covers resolved, I'm not putting the new book out. But I'm also not finishing the manuscript. Yeah. And I also don't even know what to use as a pre-sale bonus this time around, because I did a lot of work with the coloring book and it was as a bust, basically. And if I stay in KU, what have I got to give people as a pre-sale bonus? So I'm drawing a complete blank. She suggested an interview with an expert that's related to the themes in the book. So that's a thing, but then that's a job I have to do.
And why not just use like bonus scenes? Like why not? I mean, it seems obvious, but like,
I don't know. It feels like it has to be something flashy or significant, or people just don't care. I don't know. I got a modest number of pre-sales last time, but most of the people that pre-purchased it didn't even bother downloading the thing. So clearly that wasn't the motivator.
Yeah.
So I don't know what.
Why pre-sales? Like, why is that the thing to push on?
I don't know. It's just part of stuff that people do, and maybe I shouldn't even worry about it. Just put it up on pre-sale and forget the pre-sale bonus. It's just part of it's the Tim Grahl thing. It's part of his formula, right?
Okay, so here's a question for you. Something that it'll require you to go away and think about it. But have you done a download for yourself from your brain to paper of what are all of the things that you did for this past launch and which ones worked the best? Because what you want to do is take the 20% of things that gave you the 80% of momentum, and you want to put those into your plan for the next one. Not just keep adding everything, because that's what the formula is. Like, right? Reapplying a formula to your situation over and over again and expecting different results is sort of the definition of insanity. Like there's a certain amount of consistency that's important, but there's a certain amount of reflection required, and you've got to weed out the extra crap because you can't do everything. There are too many things. The list is too giant.
Well, considering how hard I worked it was a very quiet launch. So I'm not even sure I can look at what I did and say, this worked, this didn't work. I mean, I think it's pretty clear the pre-sale bonus didn't work, but a lot of the other stuff I did hasn't even really rolled out yet. Like, because there was a big emphasis on outreach. So, there's follow-up on the book bloggers that I sent books to that may not even have posted reviews yet. And there's like the book trailer that I hired someone to do. I just got it 2 days ago. I haven't shared it with anyone yet.
Okay, so it's too early. It's too early to plan your next one because you haven't even finished this one, is really what I hear you saying. Like, and that seems to be kind of how you're feeling, because you're feeling like there's all of these things that are not completed. There's all these open circles, and the list is just getting more and more overwhelming and longer and longer and longer.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
huge and ragged. So,
yeah,
I was going to do a spreadsheet of all my outreach activities, because that seems to be where I've put most of my energy, is branding and outreach. And like you say, figure out what have I done, what's complete, what tasks do I still have to do, and what's the point of it all? Like, which of these things are actually helping? But again, I can't link any of my activities to actual sales. I don't think. I don't know, maybe a little.
So, I mean, even your newsletter of who clicks through your buy links, like that would be a trackable. You can't tell for sure if they purchased, but you can tell if they clicked through.
True, but I don't actually know how to take that level of analysis to the next level. Like, I can see percentage of clicks, but I don't know how to figure out who those people were. I think the newsletter end of things is going okay. It's growing. I'm going to be bumping up over 2,500 very soon, and then I'm going to do another smallish purge just to give myself a little bit more space before I do that. And I've only got 66 inactives out of 2,400 and something.
That's good.
Which is pretty good. It's a big improvement over where I was a few months ago. So, and I'm getting a fair degree of engagement with people. I send out stuff, and if I ask them a question, I'm actually getting emails, and I'm talking to people. And so in a way, that's all good news, right? That's progressing. And I need to probably focus on being more disciplined about sending those newsletters out in some sort of nice, comfortable, routine way instead of my usual swatting flies style. I make a plan and then I don't follow the plan, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and part of it sounds to me like there's too many things in your plan, because even just the stuff that you've mentioned on today's call, I can't see a way you would fit that in even full time over the next 3 to 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Like, there is a phenomenal amount of volume there. And so
I know, but that's normal. I mean, but the thing is, isn't everybody else doing this stuff too? I look around and I see people doing all this stuff.
Not all of it, and not all at once. That's the thing, is that's like an instant recipe for crash, right? And for feeling super depressed because you're not keeping up, when really everyone is like, if you're moving things forward, you have to pick a thing to focus on, maybe for a whole month, not even just a week, but like, this entire month, I'm going to worry about nothing but cleaning up my newsletter subscribers and working on a consistent pattern of engagement for 4 weeks. Right.
And I don't seem to have the organization or mental discipline to do anything remotely like that. I'm always juggling all the balls. And then even when I'm not doing a thing, I'm worrying about a thing or trying to get to the thing. And I think that's partly why I can't function at all right now.
Okay, I'm going to send you a link to a course by a person who's not me, which is fantastic. And it's called the Focus Course, and it teaches you to do exactly that. And even though it feels like adding one more thing, take a look. Read some of the stuff on his website if you're looking for ways. But if you're saying that an integral part of your personality is the fact that you can't focus, you need to solve that before you try to do everything else, or nothing is going to work, right?
Well, lately that's definitely true.
But I mean, if that's how it feels, and this is the base of something you've been coming back to for years, not even just a short time. Like if that's the block that's keeping you from getting where you want to be with your writing career, then that's what you need to address. It's not about the 6,000 things around the outside of that equation that are the problem. You need to start in the middle at the bottom, right? It's like, if you can't kind of build on a solid foundation, then it's all just kind of going to crumble down. You might have lots of nice things dangling off your house, but it's not solid.
Sometimes I think I don't have the right personality for any of this. Like indie publishing is an enormously complex undertaking.
Yes.
And I worried about this at the beginning before I did it, that I would be better off if somebody did these things for me. It's not that I can't do any specific thing, but that I can't keep it organized. So I don't know. If a course will help, I can look at it.
Okay. So here's an alternate suggestion. What if you just stop until September 1st? What if you only look after your life and you set aside all of the other stuff until September 1st?
Well, that's kind of what I've been doing all of July.
Yeah, but not with permission. You've been feeling bad about it, which means it's defeating the purpose of the break. So what if you said, my job as an author right now is to give myself some breathing room to figure out how I want to proceed. And you just stop for 3 weeks. It's summer. You have other business things to manage. You have lots of commitments at home. You have all of this other stuff going on. And if you feel like it, then okay, pick away at stuff. But it's not a requirement. You have not set deadlines on yourself. You've just given yourself some breathing room.
If it weren't for the fall release, I wouldn't feel half as much pressure, but
you
feels like...
currently don't have a fall release. You just said you weren't going to schedule it. It's not finished writing. It's not finished anything, and it's not ready to go.
I still want it.
Okay, but wanting it and having it committed to are different things, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. What I hear you saying is your plate is completely overloaded and you're feeling completely overwhelmed and you don't know where to start, but there's all of these open things all over the place. And so before you start anything new, you got to finish up the first book a little bit, right? Like just looking at the feeling of having so many open threads to manage, the emotional energy required in that is astounding, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you stop being who you are. It doesn't mean you stop working on things, but like, what if you just didn't commit to the fall release until September and you give yourself permission to clean things up, get an actual assessment of where things got to with this last book, like, you know, paying your coaches to give you more jobs when you haven't finished the current ones, you're not going to get full value out of that investment, right? Like it just seems like, especially over summer when there's so much else going on, that's a good time to kind of give yourself permission to do a little spring cleaning in late summer, right? Like just process everything, because you have done a phenomenal amount of work and you've made these huge leaps in your sort of external author presence, and your website's up and you've got all these new covers, all this other stuff, but your body and your brain have to catch up with all of that progress, right? Like you have to have enough time to reintegrate that and to decide for yourself how you feel about those different pieces and to learn how to operate them all. Like just because you get other people to make you stuff doesn't mean you understand how it works without still following through on that stuff, right? So that extra, it's an extra little bit of space to reincorporate all of your new parts. It's like somebody just pasted like 5 new arms on you and you don't know how they all work together yet, right? So like, you know, when you have, I mean, you're a company, you have contractors you're working with, you have projects you're managing. You went from you managing most of it to working with people to do a ton of these other pieces in a very short period of time. And when you don't have time to slowly like integrate that and build systems for it and kind of adjust yourself and your own capacity, like just because someone's doing it doesn't mean you don't have to review it anymore.
No,
so
absolutely.
It's not like we have this perception that, well, I've outsourced all this work, so, you know, I should like flying along here on the other stuff. You still have to make all those decisions and manage all those things. So you need a little bit of time to catch up with all of that management piece before you're ready to make a strategic plan for your next quarter, right? Like,
yeah. That's absolutely right. I mean, I I delegated some tasks, but I also feel like I ended up with a to-do list that's 10 times as long.
Yeah.
And I'm never on top of any of it.
Yeah.
And
You're still
like
a
you say, I
project
don't have
manager as
a
well.
management plan.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest problems is I'm always too ambitious in making my to-do lists.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's really hard because
I feel like a failure all the time.
there are things that I want to do, like, oh, look, I'm all excited about these 50 things. I'll put them all on my to-do list.
Yeah.
And you know why you want all of those pieces,
Mhm.
but you're not really doing any of them properly because you're,
Yeah.
Which means you're getting like 20% out of the value of any of the things that you have done because you kind of haven't taken them to where they could go, right?
Mhm.
And so, I don't know. The only thing, because I frequently cycle back around to this place of complete overwhelm where I'm just like, I have too many things. Like every task is, 2 months overdue. Like, how do I deal with this? And I do two things. One is I wipe the slate. So like I actually go through and I take, like if I'm using Asana, I take the dates off everything, every due date off of every task. And then I look at, okay, what are like one thing chunks that I could finish in a day, right? And just like start working through those and basically don't let myself work on a new project or anything else until I have closed all the circles.
yeah, I definitely need to close circles. I mean, sometimes it's a little challenging because, I mean, you work on building the list and getting the newsletter reinvented. Now she's in the car. Oh, but there's certain things you commit to, like a regular meeting, or you're in contract with someone, a designer, and you have to give them feedback and guidance, and or you've got the newsletter going out. You can't just stop sending newsletters because you can't cope this week. You got to keep doing that stuff, and sometimes that is more than I can handle, and then all the other stuff spills over. So
can you think for yourself, like if you give yourself seasons to really focus on those different pieces as you're thinking about how you're going to manage this author business going forward? So like have, August just designated as a cleaning up time. And then maybe September, October is going to be writing time. And you're not going to worry about sending out newsletters every week necessarily for that month or 2 months if your focus is going to be on the writing, and then you can rejuvenate that. What does that say?
it says, can I do prolific and strategic? And that's kind of been my overarching keyword goal for this year. And I feel like I'm trying so hard to be prolific, and I'm just not cut out for it because there's so many other things going on that it's interfering with the writing. So, and I'm not doing a good job at strategic either because scatterbrain. So I don't know. I guess I'm just feeling like a big failure right now instead of, and I'm still grasping at those big goals without figuring out what does that mean and how can I best implement it.
Yeah.
I don't want to distract from that, but are you doing a newsletter every week?
No. It was monthly, and I'm kind of trying to follow a twice a month general thing right now. Once a month is fine, but if you're doing promos or giveaways or whatever, you're obligated to reach out to your list a bit more often. And then you think, well, I can't just send that. I have to say something. So I'm kind of aiming for every 2 weeks, but I feel like because of some stuff I'm involved with and a discount and stuff that I have to send another one like today. And I just sent one Friday, and I was sent one like the week before that. So this isn't normal. It's just that I've got a lot of specific things that I'm sharing and or need to share. I would rather not send one right now, but I can't. There's certain things that have expiry dates. You can't wait to share them. So
Yeah. Like that book sweeps
the
promo
book
thing
sweeps
we're
thing,
doing.
and I mean, this is how scatterbrained I am. I put 2 of my books on a week long $1.99 Kindle countdown deal. So $1.99 for a week. They started on the 2nd. It's the 6th. I haven't told anybody. That's how. I mean, it's like that's my discount for the quarter in KU, and I didn't even, I forgot. So now I have to tell people about it. Otherwise, and that means, now I have to open BookBrush and make a thing, and then I have to write another newsletter and send it out and do a bunch of social media stuff. It's just like,
Okay.
Are people
that's what
finding,
happens, right? You end up backpedaling just to meet the
are people
commitments you've already
finding
made.
it on KU because of the discount? Isn't there a set of people that just go out and look for those discounts?
Well,
is
one
giving
hopes.
you the discount introducing you to a new audience versus if you're putting all this pressure on yourself to get a hold of those people that are already your fans who've probably already bought and read those books. So maybe you're
I don't believe that's true of my list, but anyway,
Yeah. So here's a little.
promote it otherwise.
I'm gonna hit pause because this could just
Yeah.
be an endless spiral of frustrating, which doesn't help you kind of get forward in a place. So I think your idea of making yourself a list of all the open circles is a great idea. That would be a really good next step. And I think giving yourself a couple of weeks of like not a ton of pressure on all that stuff. Like just take care of write a list in the morning of one thing you absolutely have to take care of for that day. One thing, not a huge giant list, but what is one urgent thing? So for today, maybe your one urgent thing is that you will send out that message for your promos and also include your book sweeps thing in it, right? You can send one thing that has everything in it. I just did that yesterday.
I saw, yeah.
2 days before the end of the thing, like, forgot I put my books on promo. It's not about being scatterbrained. It's just about having too many things on your plate. So think simple. Think one thing only in a day. And then you're not going to have failed on hitting what you promised yourself you were going to do every single day, right? Mm-hmm. So one straightforward thing. Pick what it is going to be the next day. You don't have to lay out what one thing am I going to do every day for the next 2 weeks.
I feel like I'm falling behind, though.
Start with that. But you will always be falling behind because the opportunities will always be multiplying. So you have to remove opportunities. You have to decide there are things you're not going to care about. I quit social media like 2 years ago, and I post maybe 3 times a year when I have to for a promo, and that's all I've done for 2 years because I could not write all the books and keep up with all the social media and do the website stuff. I haven't updated my website in months. Like, this is the cobbler's shoes, the cobbler's kids with no shoes kind of thing. But like, you have to decide where your focus actually needs to be, and then screw the rest. Like, people can tell you what worked for them, and they can say, these are the 5,000 things you have to do to be successful, but it's not true. If you listen to so many of the podcasts with people who like hit it big, an awful lot of them are like, like Jonas, he sold millions of books, and he's like, yeah, I don't actually have a newsletter list. Like, he's like, I could write all the books, or I could do these other things, so I wrote all the books. Like, people are making choices, and they're not doing everything. Sometimes they're just in KU, and they just release, and they don't do a release. They just put the books out there, and the promotion for that book is writing another one. And so there are all of these options, which makes it really hard, but you have to choose to ignore 80% of the noise. 20% of your activities are where your actual momentum is going to come from. So
I guess I always feel if I could just get all these promotional branding things all sort of reasonably organized and then just set them over there, then I'm just going to leave that alone for a while and then just go over here and write and publish books. But I can never get on top of this crazy thing. It's
a little while in a publishing career is 2 to 3 years. So for most people, you're going to be dedicating a couple of years to getting your branding figured out and getting your social stuff set up, and probably 3 to 5 years in writing the books that you need for your base. It is very rare for people to have any kind of success under like about a 7-year timeline, right? And often when they do, and it appears like an overnight success, they either had pre-existing social media stuff from something else, or they actually had pre-written an awful lot of books that were mostly kind of done, and they're pulling from their stuff under the bed. Like the actual 0 to 6,000, it's not a thing. Like it really isn't. There are maybe a few sort of special sparkly exceptions to that, but for the most part, people have been doing something else behind the scenes, prepping them for that. Maybe they worked in business management and they were actually setting up all of these ideas about the systems they would use to manage things, right? They were removing learning curves for different things that they're now applying now. So it's not magic, and it is not fast. And you need to give yourself permission to be on about a 7-year arc minimum, right? Like from publication, not from.
I think I'll be an author now.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's easy to forget the track records of the people that are being held up as the examples. But my first romance book I published was actually my 27th book. Like you're not starting at the beginning when you've already done a whole bunch of the pieces a lot of the times. And I think when you look at most of the people that are like the top of the industry that we sort of model ourselves after these days, they mostly started in about 2011. So if you start looking at publishing,
these are different times too. You have to do so many more.
So all that aside, you got to give yourself some breathing room, right? If you set too quick of a timeline on it, you're just going to crash and burn and feel miserable. So
in 4 years, I'm going to be 62 years old.
And most people never write a book until after that point. Like when you look at percentages of books written out there in the world, a lot of people retire before they start writing. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to forget that. And a lot of people use fake photos for their author photo of somebody who's a lot younger than they actually are. That's a thing that happens with startling regularity. So you need to remember, your life is not over. You probably have 30 to 40 years still at this point where you can potentially be productive in the writing career. It's the brilliance of being a writer. It's not like you're doing construction, right? Like you're good. You've got some time. So don't feel like you have to do everything in the next 2 years.
All right. I'll give myself 4 years.
Yeah.
Then I'll quit.
Well, if you can quit, do it now. Right? But that's the question is, could you honestly walk away from being a writer? If you could, do it now. But if you can't, that's good. It means that that's really what you're supposed to be doing. You just have to give yourself permission to do it your way. Everybody has such a different skill set and lifestyle and set of other commitments going on. I've been working on my series for 25 years, actually. I wrote the first one when I was 15. So even though you may delay parts of it, you'll still be working on the other bits. There is no one magic path, right?
That's why I feel like I've already been doing this for 15 years, because that's when I started learning all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So that's still short. I mean, most of the top genre people that I kind of watch and I'm like, ooh, I want to be like that. They've been publishing since before I was born. Nora Roberts, her first book came out the year I was born. She's got somewhat of a head start,
I went to my first Surrey conference in 2003.
There you go.
Yeah, for me it was 5, Jenny. 2005.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I was 2008.
And look at you now, girl.
There you go. It's a thing. I'm still not making millions from it. It's, and in the interim, there were 35 books. So it is not an overnight poof thing, right?
And there's so many different skills to learn.
A lot, yeah.
And we are all uniquely equipped to do certain things and not other things. And somehow indie publishing makes you have to learn all the things, whether you're good at them or not.
Yep.
But that's the thing, I can do tasks, but I've never been a good, I've had moments, but a big organizer, not on an ongoing basis.
Okay, so we're going to pause there. Joanne had some questions and stuff we were going to talk about as well, so we're going to switch over there. Your mission, give yourself a break. And make a list of open circles and don't put a single future task on there. Like your possible stuff to consider later could go on a possible stuff to consider later list, but your actual to-do list should only include the things that you've already committed to, that are half done, that you are like in progress for, or are directly accountable. Like if your coach, you've promised your coach you'll do X by a certain date, or you've promised a newsletter has to go out by a certain date for a promo. Like only put the things that are actual have-tos, not shoulds and not mights. Oh, we lost Joanne.
Oh,
Back. Okay,
oh,
good.
there she is.
Okay, so
All right, muting now.
you have your mission. And Joanne, we're getting a tour of your yard. It's lovely there. When you get stable internet, then I want to know what you've been up to with your promo stuff. And I can share with you guys the Book Sweeps promo that we signed up for. I think, there you are. So I signed up for the Book Sweeps promo. I think Marianne's on the same promo, and Janine as well. So I'm curious to hear from Janine how that has been going thus far. I think there's about, I don't know, I looked this morning, there was about 40 new BookBub people on my profile, and I think it started today or yesterday, I don't know. So that seems good. They suggested about
romance one?
It's a sweet and mild romance promo. Yeah. So that one is, they say you can expect about 200 people. So we'll see.
I also did the women's fiction one with a different book, but I don't think it started yet because I didn't get an email.
Right. So for Joanne, what have you been up to with your adventures these days?
I have, I did another market day, Saturday market day. I met Marianne there, which was fun. Market days are turning out to be a really fun thing that I do just on long weekends, but I sell books, so it's usually book ones too, so that's really good. I've been concentrating on getting some short stories pulled together with professional covers made and taglines and descriptions, because the first promo I did with Book Funnel was very successful. I had 160 downloads of my very first short story. So I now have 3 more, and that's going to help me manage my new people. I'm going to send them another short story, but it will be an excerpt from one of my books that I turned into a short story. And then I'll try to sell them something after that. So that was keeping me busy. BookSprout, I just got the results from the first 2 books that came due for reviews, and very disappointing, but I learned a few things. I had chosen to go with the group of reviewers that had the best reputation for following through, and that was probably a mistake, because I ended up with less than 50% of the people who said they were going to review actually reviewed it. So that was very disappointing. And I emailed them about it. I just asked, and they said, they would make sure that those people weren't allowed to review any more of my books. But I thought, really, they shouldn't be allowed to review any books, or maybe that's one of 3 strikes and then they can't review books. So anyway, that was my experience with that. I know you've had way better experience, but I'm going to put them both back up, but I'm going to go down to the list that, has the most reviewers in it.
Yeah.
Is it summer? Is it just that people are busy because it's summer? Is it timing?
Some of it might be.
No idea. They committed to it, so.
Yeah, I had a lot of people this last go round who posted very late with apologies, but like there's a whole bunch of fires, and there's all kinds of stuff going on, and it's summer and whatever, parenting. A lot of people are parenting or grandparenting over the summer. So I did find my summer one that I tried had a way lower uptake, but also the lower the area you go, the more reviews you tend to get. Like the super strict one is hard. You don't get as many people signing up because they have to have such a good rating overall on the site. But I'd be curious to see, did anyone give you like reasons for not reviewing? Because often they will post a reason.
I had one person give me a review for the second book saying it wasn't her type of book, which is fine. I was glad she said that, and that's perfectly. I don't want her reviewing my book if it's not her type. And then another one, I got a late one like you got, and I emailed them back and said thank you for letting me know, and that their review had actually gone up. So I just let them know I'd seen the review. It had been up, and I haven't checked this morning to see if any others are up. But the rate, it's still less than 50% of the people who had said that they would review.
How long ago did it end?
They were supposed to have the reviews up by July 31st.
Okay. I would be curious if you sent a direct message to any of them and saying if they didn't review, could they just let you know why? Because you're curious. Like, there's the ability to reach out to the people inside BookSprout. So you can click on their email and send them a note, and you can just say, I'm doing some author development stuff. I'm just trying to figure out, like, in using BookSprout, is there anything I could have done differently that would have encouraged you to leave a review? Like, and it may be just that they've forgotten or whatever, in which case maybe they will then actually post it when that happens. The other thing I noticed is sometimes I would get not great response rates at the beginning, but then I would post the next book in the series, and then I would say they couldn't have the next book until they reviewed the first one. And then did you post them all at once?
I did, but I staggered the due date for the review.
Okay, but then there's nothing stopping them from getting the next book, even if they didn't review the first one. They could have already downloaded it. So maybe that's something to think about.
They could have, but I had the exact same numbers of reviewers on all the books, so I think everyone who took book one probably took all the others, because it was the exact same number.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean,
those people aren't going to review.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But if you repost book one or any of them later, don't put the rest of them up at the same time. Like, just do book one, because then if you post book two later, you can say only people who did review my first one get to have this one. It's that, like, next level up. And then often when they try to download the next one and are stopped, they'll go back and review the old one and then move on. It's kind of an interesting little thing. And then you'll get the people who liked it, right? Because they're the ones who enjoyed it enough to want to read the second one. And it gets you the good people. It kind of filters that out. So I don't know, something to think about anyway. But yeah, summer,
worth a try for sure.
Summer is definitely hard to get people to do anything, basically.
You have to give people enough time. I posted my ARC for the new release late because I set it up and then I forgot to, like, trigger it or whatever. And then when I finally sent it out, it was getting kind of late for the release date. So there was not enough time. So I only had, out of a potential 50, I only had 4 people even take it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the book.
Yeah.
It's very attractive, but there wasn't enough time.
Yeah.
So now I can't go public with it again until I take it down and put it up again.
You can do BookSprout when you're in KDP still.
Oh, that's not it. It's that BookSprout wouldn't let me do do a new review request with the same book publicly. I can invite people, but I can't do a public one.
Really?
Twice. And then I emailed back and forth with them, and they said, if you take it down completely from BookSprout and put it up again, it's just the way their system's built.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
If you put it up again, then you can. Anyway, I got 3 out of my 4. So.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So
I wonder if that means for me then that I need to communicate with the people that I have their names who said they would review and didn't prior to me taking it completely off there, because I'll lose all that. And I guess I'll also lose records of who those people were. So I think maybe I'll take a copy of try to get a copy of all those people so I know.
Yeah, if you click on your if there's like a hot link to, it says, 26 people downloaded this ARC or whatever. If you click on that, it takes you to the page with all the email addresses. So that's an easy like export or screenshot or whatever, however you want to do it. But there should also be the ability to send like a follow-up email to all the people in there. So that's also a possibility. Be like, I totally understand. It's summer. There's stuff going on, and maybe there wasn't enough time to read it. So, I'm happy to grant an extension, and I'll mark as complete anyone who gets it in the next 2 weeks or, before September 1st, or whatever it is. Just so they're not, because there's so many. And if they downloaded all of them, it's a lot of reading. So, yeah, just to say, like, I get it. And then you're like poking them, but it's in a nice way. I'm poking you to tell you, like, don't stress. You've got more time.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. What else is going on?
Just learning so I know what I need to do when I get there.
Yeah, all the things. Okay, so we have some ARCs that are about to go out to various people for our Creative Academy books, which we are very excited about. We are also, at the same time, redoing our Creative Academy website, since some people have trouble accessing some of the resources, and it can be frustrating the way Teachable is set up sometimes to find things. The search function's not great. And so we're actually moving off of Teachable, and we're building a new site that's going to be pretty slick in how you can navigate around in it, and hopefully much easier to find things and all of that goodness. But what I am wondering is kind of what you wish you could do, or what you find challenging right now in accessing the different resources so that we can solve that in our new design. Joanne.
Searchable. Searchable. It needs to be searchable.
That we have done. What else?
Is there a place within Ring Central where sort of the schedule of events is, or maybe I just forgot?
Yes.
So
There is a calendar. So let me share right now.
it comes up on my app, and I've got my Google Calendar linked, but sometimes I'm just in Ring Central, and
I'm not sure. So this is the calendar tab.
Okay, I just forgot what I knew at some point.
Yeah, so that's there, but also
Where is the calendar tab? Where are you? Where are you in the calendar? How did you get there?
So in GLIP or Ring Central, down the left-hand side, there should be a row of icons along the bottom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the third one in is the calendar. There's also
thank you.
a snazzy tab, which you may or may not have been aware of, which is called Links. And this is everything we've ever linked to inside Ring Central. You can show any of the teams. So let's say we're looking at, I don't know which one. We're looking at Build Your Brand. And you can sort by title or by domain. If you were like, I remember there was some book cover design thing that was useful. You can also search inside the links with keywords. And you can find just about anything that's in there, which is handy. If you're in a team, you can see the top links, like the most recent ones. You can see files that were shared. And you can also, if you click on the links, it'll take you to all the ones for that team sorted by different things.
I guess this is more about Ring Central than about your, because I don't have trouble finding the I'm pretty good at navigating and finding stuff. It's like one of my superpowers. Yeah. But threaded conversations in Ring Central would be nice. So like if you have a topic like those first line, you can have like that whole thread going,
Yeah.
And it's not mixed in with all those other threads about, whatever else people are talking about. Like, you can have like subtopics within the teams or something that are going.
So once the part of why we're doing this move is because Ring Central effectively just made it impossible for us to onboard new people. So there is a way to do it, but it's a super workaround, and it's going to kill us. So we are actually going to build in our community functionality to our own website, which also means all of those conversations and data and everything's held on our site instead of a third-party site.
Right.
So that will be preferable. So we're just integrating all of that. So you'll only ever have to go to one place, and you'll have everything in.
Will you have an whatever plugin you're using for that? Will there be an app, or then you can't really get to it easily from your phone without?
We're still looking at options, which is why we haven't committed yet. MemberPress is set up to do a certain amount of that from any device. It's all mobile responsive and everything, but we'll see how that shakes out. So for right now, we're going to keep with what we've got. It may not be till the new year that we actually make that transition, and we're going to do some beta testing and stuff just to make sure that it still functions for everybody. But
yeah, because I'd rather have the Ring Central functionality than the threads, because like one of the things that I really dislike about the Lit Forum, which was another writer group that I belong to, is mobile. You could get into it mobilely, but it was just so awkward and difficult to navigate around, and it just made it, I don't know, hard for me to really participate.
Yeah, fair. So yeah, anyway, that part is going to be a secondary piece for now. We figured out a workaround, and it's all good, but we're just very aware that we are completely dependent on that company's choice of how they're going to support. And their tech support is brutal. Like, any problems we've had, it's been weeks before they get back to us. And almost always they get back to us with like, we can't do anything about that. So that is super frustrating.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking for a solution that's going to be something that's not quite so open to someone else's whims, because we want to make sure that we are long-term stable, not just till they change the tool stable. So we will see what we can do about reincorporating that. If anybody has a tool that they use on a different group or whatever, or any community that they find is particularly good for that, please do pass that along so I can investigate that option. But we do have some.
Not what Lit Forum is using.
Yeah, right. Do you know what they're using?
Let you know. I could go log in right now, but I had a staffing folder with all my logins and stuff, and I hid it because I gave up my staff position there. I liked you guys better. It wasn't worth splitting my time. Do you have a log on there? I can get in real quick. Crystal.
We can't
You're
hear
on
you.
mute, Crystal.
Sorry. There was a super loud grass cutting thing outside my window. Yeah, it says it's powered by my BB, which I think is a BuddyPress plugin.
Yeah, but they have like a full-time guy who spends all this time like solving.
Oh, this is a thing. This is no. This is not BuddyPress. BuddyPress is like on steroids compared to this. I think, yeah, it was my bulletin board. Okay.
Yeah.
It's PHP. Like it's old school. Yeah, not that. No worries there.
That's what
part of that is a good idea in my world.
Yeah, after CompuServe went belly up, that's what they went to.
Okay.
I think part of it's because it's totally free and there's no membership fees, so they couldn't afford to. I think other than the platform, there's like $50 a month or a year or something like that Diane's been paying. So
yeah, and that's kind of like there are some neat options that we looked at, but they're like, for the 100 members we have now, it'd be like several $100s a month. Like some of them were close to $1,000 a month, and to do basically what Glip does. So it was like, that is not practical for what we do. So we don't want to have to raise people's membership fees. So our goal is keep it accessible. So yeah, well, there's a bunch of options I've been looking at, which are fine. We just want to know like which functionalities are the ones we like. So we've got like 2 more minutes. If we think about in Ring Central, so having an app, that's big. What else is kind of key about how we use it that we like?
The connection between being able to go into Ring Central and click through to the Zoom meetings. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a link, but that's important and convenient.
Okay. Yeah. Embedded links, is that something like where it pops up with a little preview of the link? Is that care, don't care?
No, I kind of like that feature.
Yeah. Emojis, obviously.
Oh yeah, and the GIFs, they're funny. I love the GIFs.
Mm-hmm.
This is tiny, but like if somebody likes your post and you don't go back and look at your post, you can't really get that feedback that somebody liked your post. It doesn't notify you in any way.
Right.
That's true.
It's very minor.
That's actually what I normally go through and just give the stuff likes, because I don't always, it's happened a long time prior to, in the conversation, and I don't want to,
Yeah.
a week later come in and say, oh, congratulations.
So here's a question, because there is a plugin that basically works like Facebook. It's like a social media plugin, but it makes your own little social media platform inside your own thing. So do we feel like that would become just one more social media platform? Do we like the forumy nature of the chat, or?
I like the forumy.
Yeah.
Like the teams and stuff.
Yeah.
Oops. Hold on a second. I just broke my bookshelf my foot was on.
Oh no. Don't.